All right, so we're going to start game 2. In this particular matchup, we're going to get these players updated here. The bottom player will be Matt Thornton. If I can spell. He'll be playing light side. And the top player in this instance is Jerry Heine. We'll be using dark side. They're getting shuffled up here. Jerry has deployed the Imperial Entanglements objective. He started the Tatooine Desert Heart along with the Tatooine system. And 3 effects. He's gone with the Imperial Arrest Order, Mob Points, and Endor Shield. A pretty standard start. Not quite sure which version of Imperial Entanglements he'll be running with that. Matt has revealed Hidden Base. He started Rendezvous Point and heading for the Medical Frigate with 3 effects. Battle Plan, Draw Their Fire, I Must Be Allowed to Speak, and Wackling. No squadron assignments, no Mon Calamari dockyards, no superficial damage, so that's going to make me think this is more of a ground-based mains version of Hidden Base, where he'll probably pull 1 or 2 systems, and just for activation purposes mostly, and probably play some more conventional ships and pilots, more versatile guys. Some capitals like Tanafor and Bright Hope, and probably things like that. And I must be allowed to speak to get the farm to play on the ground, and to help cycle through some cards with his deck. I just got the deck lists here, so we'll take a quick peek and see if I was right. Yeah, this looks about what I was expecting to see. Hopefully the players keep their piles in fairly decent view. Got reserve deck and lost pile there. See if I can get Jerry just to move his reserve deck and lost pile over just slightly before as they get started here with game 2. Move Jerry's lost pile over just a little bit, so now we can see everything better. Jerry went ahead, used his first action mobilization points to get the flagship executor, used Endor Shield and took a couple admirals into hand. I saw Thrawn, I missed the second admiral. Possibly Piet or Ozzel would be the most likely ones that he would grab with that. We get a look at Matt's hand there. We can see a couple of characters. Not sure why the camera keeps going in and out of focus like that, though. Like it's trying to focus on Matt's hands, which keep moving. Hang on one second. All right, there we go. Looks like that reset it. Jerry's going to go ahead and he's going to deploy Admiral Ozzel and Grand Admiral Thrawn on board the Devastator at Tatooine. He pulled, looks like Watto's Mos Espa for the Tatooine site, and the Executor docking bay, which is just out of frame there off to the far right. So we had 28 players, so there were 14 games last round. There were a disproportionate number of wins. 4 people got pared down this round. 4 people who are playing dark side this round got pared down, which means that there were more light side wins than dark side wins last game, which is a little surprising. Most people have felt that like dark side is the stronger side in the meta currently, but with the release of VSET 6 and a few other changes, we'll see how that goes. If that's changed things. The stream videos are going to also be transmitted over to YouTube. So if you are having issues with the video streaming at all, hopefully you can watch the matchups there later on. Matt went ahead and pulled a system. He pulled Narshada. He used his I Must Be Allowed to Speak pull to get the large moisture farm. We can see the couple of ships in his hand there. There's a Jedi Lev, an EPP Obi. There's a Tantive 4. Another system, Jedi's Resilience. Looks like he's got a Wedge and Rogue Squadron 1 in his hand as well. So he's going to pull a Hujix, which is going to get grabbed by Jerry. And there goes the camera with that twitching thing again. That's weird. Looks like it stopped in a minute, though. I guess it doesn't like when there's a camera or a card directly in the middle underneath it. Some other looks like we got a bit of a delay in the video streaming between my commentary and when it's posting. Now I'm listening to myself here, trying to make sure the audio is at least a little bit better. And it definitely sounds a little bit improvement. Still low, but getting there. We've got our own dedicated Wi-Fi line connected. But they're still getting some... The Twitch feed is still a little buffering frequently. Getting us back here. Jerry's deployed another site there, so he's got the Junkyard and Mos Espa both in play. He's got Admiral Piet over at the Executor docking bay. Used him to pull an Admiral's order to get we're in attack position now. That'll make his admirals deploy cheaper. It'll also give him some ping damage, possibly, if he has any generals or commanders that he's going to be deploying to sites. Matt's going to take a slow and steady approach here. He's probably going to let Jerry deploy first, get his activation up and running, and then deploy several characters at once. We did see that Matt did play Tatooine. He did convert Jerry's system, which will limit Matt to one battle destiny. I'm sorry, will limit Jerry to one battle destiny for the pretty much remainder of game at Tatooine, because he does not have any independent starships. He's not allowed to play any independent starships. So that's could be a pretty significant conversion there. Thrawn essentially will not add a battle destiny. Imperial Command will not add battle destinies. Grand Moff Tarkin will not add battle destinies. So Jerry's going to have to find a way to play around that, especially if there's systems coming down. Matt's going to go ahead. He's going to deploy Wedge and Red Squadron 1 and the Tantive 4 to Chandrilla, which he also deployed. 1, 2, 3. Matt's got 4 systems in play right now, so I guess he is going to try and flip. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a 5th system here come out pretty soon, the next turn or so. Jerry's going to help me out and turn all the locations sideways, so that way we don't run out of room. Jerry's going to activate 14 force this turn. That should give him pretty much more than enough to get everything that he wants set up. He's going to deploy the Mos Espa docking bay now. That's his 4th location in play. And I wouldn't be surprised here to see him with the amount of force he activated to try and go ahead and flip his deck here. Blizzard 2 to Mos Espa there. Or Watto's Junkyard, I always get those two sites mixed up. They look pretty similar. There's a Tempest Scout 3 virtual going to the Desert Heart there. That'll give him 2 locations. He just needs to get a 3rd, whether he's going to move. And he's going to deploy Biker Scout there. That's I think that's Corporal Dreselin. Not sure why that's so blurry. See if we can fix that card image there. Corporal Dreselin, just a Biker Scout. He's going to move everybody over and consolidate after playing Tatooine Occupation. So Jerry's got himself flipped right now, but he's only occupying or controlling the 1 location. He's got the occupation out, but Matt's certainly in a position here where he's activating more than enough force. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. Matt's activating almost 20 force right now. He can pretty much do whatever he wants with the cards in his hand. He's got a number of characters. Very easily could flip Jerry back just by controlling 2 locations, possibly deploying to the large moisture farm and Moss Isley over there. Oh, looks like we just got kicked offline again, so I apologize for that. Looks like we are having some issues with our internet connection. So Matt's got several options here. He can deploy multiple characters to try to clear that site and kill Jerry's guys, or he can just deploy around him, flip him back, and only have to deal with the 1 damage there from the drain of 1 at the docking bay. He would negate the occupation and the force drain at the system just by flipping back, which should be fairly easy to do. Jerry did save 2 force, so he would have the ability possibly to play something like Imperial Barrier to keep Matt from deploying thin and then consolidating his guys and moving them back together, similar to how Jerry did when he set up and flipped his deck. And then whether or not he'll come down with more cards after that as a counter attack strategy. Looks like Matt's still thinking about what he wants to do here. So we got a glimpse at Jerry's hand there. Obviously, he still has the flagship executor that he pulled earlier. We saw Darth Vader, so he does have some characters that he could attack on the ground with. Looks like he's going to go ahead and flip him back. He's going to put Chewie down to block the site, and then deploy Obi next to it for 1 force, which would go ahead and deploy Obi next to him at the site for 5. And now Obi controls 1 location. Jerry doesn't control any locations, so that will go ahead and flip Jerry. And flip Jerry back. Matt has not found his 5th system yet, though, so he can't flip his objective. I hope for Matt's sake that he did not choose Tatooine as his hidden base. given that Jerry starts a ship there. But I guess that could be a real bluff move. See if maybe Jerry wouldn't even think that. Why would he do that? I'm never going to probe Tatooine because it would be silly not to. It's just a card out of hand, but it'd be a really interesting move, a little mind game, just to play with them, make them think, why would it be Tatooine as my hidden base? I know you started a ship there. Of course, I didn't pick that one. I picked one of the other ones, and try and make Jerry outthink himself into not playing using a probe card on Tatooine. But I think it's pretty safe to say that he will. Matt's going to add an EPP Luke down with Chewie as well. So and we see Matt's holding a Jedi's resilience. So presumably if Luke dies, well, then I'll move Obi over. Now it looks like he's just going to battle. And he went ahead and shot Tempest Scout 3 there. I used the Jedi Lev, looks like, to take the Anakin into hand. Redraw. He hit that one. The Tempest Scout there is hit, and we'll see. That's not going to get it done. It's a lower destiny draw. It's not going to crack the immunity on Blizzard 4. 11, 14, 9, 10, 11, 14. So yeah, it looks like we're supposed to just losing attrition here. He's going to lose Luke, play the resilience like we saw earlier in his hand, and Jerry's going to go ahead and grab that card. Probably a good one to grab in this matchup. We've seen multiple EPPs on the table already, so there's probably a good chance that Matt's playing 2 or 3 copies of that card, especially with it being a Destiny 6 interrupt. And then Matt's going to go ahead and move away. He's going to move, instead of moving Obi over, he moves Chewie away. And Jerry will go ahead and activate. And he won't do any direct damage, but he can do the Force Drain of 1 at the docking bay. Matt's going to lose, looks like a Bright Hope there off the top. Could be the Luminous. I think it's a Bright Hope, though. We're going to verify his deck, looking for a site. We'll see quite a combination of characters and interrupts. Kind of a mixed bag of Destiny draws, which is pretty standard for Imperial Entanglements. It's a larger number of characters than many other decks play. But at least a lot of those characters are Destiny 2 and 3 and not all 1s. So it helps out a little bit. And then some standard interrupts that the deck will run, Imperial Commands and Trample and things like that, which are some 4s. Jerry doing a double check on Chandrilla there. We might be seeing that flagship executor come out possibly soon. He might be saving that for once Matt does flip, though. Might be the more conservative approach. Would be to wait for Matt to flip and then deploy the executor. That way he's got 2 ships moving around that could probe. And instead he's going to choose to deploy Tempest 1 to Mos Espa there. No, that's actually the Junkyard. So he's playing the Junkyard and Mos Espa. So that's what those two are. Vader's going to go to Mos Espa. Stop mispronouncing these things. And then he'll move somebody over. Now he controls 3 locations again, flips his objective back. And I'll go ahead and move the other Tempest Scout over. He'll move Vader over as well, kind of, again, condensing. This is what Imperial Entanglements does. It spreads the flip, and then it moves back to a more secure position to try and keep it from getting kicked off some of these sites. We know Matt took the EPP Luke back into hand, so he certainly could come down to the large moisture farm there and battle Vader and Piet. These two players are certainly pretty familiar with each other. Jerry being from Colorado, Matt from Southern California, Los Angeles area. But they're friends outside of the game, and they've played each other a number of times over the years. So I don't know, they'll get into too many head games with each other. Or maybe sometimes that might work to their benefit, that they know each other well enough to go ahead and call the other one's bluff, or outthink the other one. Matt's going to take his time here thinking about his next move. Soon, again, he's got a number of characters in his hand. Whether he wants to, he's going to get his drain in. Now, there's a high-speed tactics. That's a biker scout card, speeder bike related card. Perhaps some type of strategy for against light side speeders. Let's go ahead and get that card up there for you, so you guys can see what that card does. Matt's going to go ahead. He's going to deploy the Spiral, the Tatooine. He's going to put Leia and Bail Organa aboard the Spiral. There comes Captain Hera. She'll add a Battle Destiny. And with Bail adding a Destiny, this could force Jerry to play an Imperial Command if he's got one. And he's going to play Owen and Baru for free to Lars Moisture Farm. Padme's also going to go to the system. So he might battle first, forfeit a guy or two, and then shuttle some people down. Right now, Matt has blocked both of Jerry's locations, so Jerry does not control any. So all he would need to do is shuttle one character down, and Matt would flip Jerry back again. That's going to be one of Matt's keys to winning this game, is keeping Jerry on the zero side of his objective as much as possible. He doesn't want to take the direct damage from the Tatooine occupation. Or from the Force drains at Tatooine. Padme is also going to help adding a destiny to attrition, now that I think about it, too. She adds a destiny to attrition with a Skywalker, and Leia is there. I think that's what Jerry just picked up and read, and Matt pointed out to him as well. So even if he's limited there, that would give him additional options. And depending on what was in his reserve deck earlier, if that's what he revealed earlier, it was a pile of characters. So it's not really going to help do a whole lot on this turn. He might just stack up with a bunch of guys. Might be looking at best maybe just getting Ozzel, getting rid of a guy, but that's going to cost him a character as well, which may not be worth it. Well, he went ahead and battled. He drew 5 and I think pose at 2. And then he's going to add a 1 to attrition, so he's going to be looking at five, 8, 9. Hera adding a destiny. He drew 3 battle destiny. Hera adds a destiny. Bail adds a destiny on board a Corvette, and 1 just for having more than 4 ability. And then the extra addition, destiny to attrition. So he'll have 9, which will kill both of Jerry's pilots there, and he can leave the Devastator. And then Matt will have to lose one of his characters as well. Oh, actually, yeah, he's going to lose Bail. Actually, his ship's immune to less than 4 from the Admiral's order, but he's going to move Chewie over. That'll flip him back. He'll move Obi over. He'll move Owen and Baru over. And then he'll move his ships to Tatooine. So he's going to stack up the Tatooine system. Perhaps he's knowing that Jerry still has the flagship executor in hand. Matt wants to be a little more conservative here and just really try and control the space game. Imperial entanglements typically only play those 2 starships. Occasionally you'll see decks float a 3rd ship like a Conquest or a Binder or something. But typically most of the conventional deck builds do not play that. Now we've also seen speeder bikes and high-speed tactics in Jerry's deck, so I don't know, I would call this a more, the most conventional build. But interestingly enough, during breakfast this morning, Matt Thornton was sitting playing a fun practice game against Ryan Jellison, and Ryan Jellison was playing a fairly similar Imperial Entanglements deck with speeder bikes and high-speed tactics. So Matt got a little, advanced sneak peek, if you will, at this matchup, and whether or not he learned anything from his match with Ryan this morning that will help him play a little differently. And perhaps maybe that's why he's playing the way he is from the things he learned during his matchup with Ryan that will dictate that. Yeah, Jeremy's asking me right now. The audio did get a little bit better. Our internet connection is still kind of crappy, so it keeps lagging and buffering and disconnecting on us. But I don't think there's really much we can do about that.
No, probably not.
No. So it's disconnected twice during the match, and then it comes back on about 15 seconds later. But it's going to keep fragmenting all the files every time it does it. I don't know. We'll just have to piece it all together later.
Yep.
So Jerry's gone ahead and deployed the flagship executor and Grand Moff Tarkin virtual. He's going to move some people around now.
That's the stoner special.
We may see him possibly shuttle Vader up to the Devastator. Oh, he's going to move Vader over. He's going to move over there. Now he controls 3. That'll flip him back to the 7 side. Again, this is just going to be a cat and mouse game of keeping which side is Jerry's objective on. And then he'll pay 1 and move Piet back over, or Piet over to there, and play 1 and move the Tempest Scout over. So we're going to be at the Jerry's back on the 7 side, but he only controls 1 location. So we give Matt again the opportunity, if Matt deployed a guy in front of Vader and then just moves one of his characters, or moves his characters one at a time like you have to, away from the Mos Espa docking bay, that's going to flip Jerry back to the 0 side again and force Jerry to keep spreading his guys around. And there's going to be a lot of jockeying for position in this particular matchup. Matt's going to go ahead and search his reserve deck. We saw several characters, several interrupts as well. He is holding a Jedi Levitation, though, so if he did draw one of those characters for Battle Destiny again, he could use the Jedi Levitation to take it into hand. He's also holding Anakin, who would add 1 to each of those Destiny draws. So he's got a few options here again, and we'll see if what Matt decides to do. Matt's doing a little math here. I guess looking at the power. 21, and Tarkin adds 2, I believe, so that'd be 23. He's got 5, 8, 13, and wedge is 6, I believe. So that'd be 19. But again, he's getting 3 Battle Destiny. And adding a Destiny to attrition. Oh wait, I'm sorry, Bale got lost last battle, so he's getting 2 Battle Destiny. 1 for Hera, 1 for ability, but he still has a Skywalker there, so Padme can add 1, a Destiny to attrition. Actually, I'm starting to wonder if the camera froze because Matt hasn't moved in a bit, and I just saw my cord get jingled. So I'm wondering if somebody perhaps snagged that out. But Matt Wadden just walked by, so he's gonna double check that real quick. And just
It tripped over the cord and then plugged it back in. So
gotcha.
is it working now?
No. How do you trip over the cord?
He was getting up to get water and it was on the ground. So you want him to keep playing or to pause?
No, I can go ahead and keep playing. We'll just try and figure out what happened. So yeah, so our stream did freeze there. Looks like Jerry got up to get a glass of water and tripped over the cord and pulled the camera cord out. So we're trying to get that plug back in here and get that reconnected to the video. Looks like we got that turned back on. Matt's going to go ahead and he's going to use the Jedi Lev to retrieve Bail Organa and then redeploy him aboard one of his starships there. That's going to add him another Battle Destiny, which I think should hopefully, in Matt's eyes, try and clear this system out a lot faster. If you can get several Battle Destiny, all he has to do, if he beats 9, then he's going to lose more than, Jared would have to lose more than the Devastator and Tarkin possibly, or he would have to lose the Executor. But since Tarkin's aboard the Executor, I think he would have to lose the Devastator and Tarkin, most likely. The Devastator also does not have the ability to move away anywhere. But unfortunately, he's drawn a bunch of characters there. 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, 10, with Anakin adding to each of those. And then 5 extra attrition would be 15, which was just enough. I think it should be just enough for Jerry to be able to keep at least one ship still there. The power is pretty similar. So it's really just going to be the attrition. But Tarkin and the Devastator cover exactly the 15. That's going to thin out Jerry's space fleet quite a bit here. Now Matt's going to move one guy over, flip the objective back to the 0 side, and then move Luke away. He's going to spend some force here and move Obi and Chewie over as well. Just keep consolidating and slowly but surely grinding Jerry out of characters. We'll have to see what other tricks Jerry has up his sleeve. Just take a look at his deck list just to see if there's any other starships that could possibly come down that might help him out. But I think he's just playing these two, and one of them's already gone. And don't see, and the ship that he does have can't move far enough away. So he's going to shuttle up Piet. There's a, I can hear Chris Schoenthal, our tournament director, inside, calling out there's 15 minutes left in the round. Try and get some standing updates for you guys watching as well. They are posting to the forums the pairings each game and the standings result after each game, so they are all available there. Some notable wins in the first round. Obviously, both of these players won, and were 1-0. Greg Shaw picked up a win. Mike French picked up a win. Tom Kelly and Kyle Kruger picked up a win. Kyle played Steve Harpster in game 1. That was a pretty tough matchup and a contender for the featured matchup. We decided to have both those players. Certainly should have other matchups throughout the day. Jerry's he's gonna move Darth Vader up as well. He's got to try and do anything he can at this point to try and hold that system. Matt's gonna check his reserve deck, and his destiny draws are gonna be a bit better this turn. This is not looking good for Jerry, being able to hold that Tatooine system. And it would not surprise me if Jerry has to lose the Executor and loses that system to see him possibly concede the game, especially with only about 10 or 15 minutes left. Well, he's got the command to try and limit, but Matt's got a sense for it. And Matt is successful, and Matt also drew the ship, which was the lowest destiny card in his reserve deck, I think, for the sense draw. So again, they're pretty similar on power, about 16, 18, but there's a 5, a 3, and a 4. Anakin adding 1 to each of them, and there Jerry goes ahead and concedes the game after losing the ship there. All right, I do apologize that we keep having some internet connections. It's just the signal here in the hotel. I don't think there's much else we can do about it. We have our own dedicated Wi-Fi line, but either what we're trying to do is just too much for it, or it's just not that strong of a connection. There's not really much they can do. We talked about it yesterday, and I guess our technological needs are a little more advanced. I guess they don't, airport hotel in Seattle probably doesn't have a whole lot of live video streaming stuff going on. But Matt Thornton will go ahead and pick up another win. He'll move to 2-0. And we're going to go ahead and take a little break here and come back in about 10 minutes for game number 3.